Alright guys, finally making the video. I know it took a while, but life and stuff, they always get in the way. But anyway, so here we go. We got the M1 Carbine. Now this one's going to be an inland M1, alright? It's not going to have, it's going to have the just a standard wood stock on there, no bayonet lug, and it doesn't have the paratrooper stock on there. But it does have the pouches for the two 15-round mags. And I do also have a coupler with two 30-rounders. We're going to play with those later. So, a couple of reasons why it took a little while for this this video to get made. I had to find a new sight for it, get that thing put on there. And we just had rotten weather for the longest time. We've had just absolutely horrible weather. If anybody's familiar with the state of Ohio, it's just awful. Anyway, so I've shot this thing for many years now. Absolutely excellent rifle. It's a pistol caliber rifle, 30 caliber, 30 carbine. So you're not going to be stretching your legs out to 500 yards with it, but for close range combat or shooting for that matter, it's very good. Everything's original on this rifle except for I had to replace it with an original sight, and there is a cut on the stock here that I suspect came during the Clinton ban years, so they basically just cut off the bottom of the pistol grip there on the stock and they defaced it. I have no intention of replacing the stock on there because the rest of it is original. Everything's in very good shape other than that, so it's fine right there. So the rifle typically runs 15-round magazines. You can also load up with 30-round magazines. Now, kind of fun with these ones is in World War II, they started loading up with box magazines instead of just going with internal magazines like all the big bolt rifles. And it made these things a lot more handy out in the field. You could easily reload and things of that nature. And it was actually originally intentioned for rear echelon troops and stuff, tankers and admin guys, I guess, I don't know. But they needed a handy, compact light rifle they could just lug around just in case they needed something. Well, a bunch of guys out in the field, they started messing around with these and they absolutely loved them, particularly the Marine Corps. Now these rifles, I don't know about this one in particular, these rifles saw a lot of action during the island hopping campaigns, particularly the M2 configuration. So this is an M1 semi-auto. The M2 had a selector on it where you can crank her full auto. And these, in close range, they would do some damage. That's about it. It's super lightweight. You can get them in different configurations. Like I said, the paratrooper one's got like a wire stock that folds over. I don't much care for that, but it suited their purposes. So let's kind of take a look at some of the other dynamics of the rifle. So let's take a look at the action here. So it looks very similar to its big brother, the M1 Garand, and is essentially it's the same action. All this is a short stroke piston on this one as opposed to a long stroke gas piston. It's got a rotating bolt, as you can see right there. As it cycles, it rotates. You'll kick out the shell as it comes back and then rotate the next one into the chamber. Right here you can see this little button on the cocking lever. That'll lock the action back, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do one-handed because I'm holding the camera. But it's a top ejection. These are very strong actions. These just do absolutely excellent. You have very little jamming, especially with these box magazines, as long as everything's seated correctly. So they really knew what they were doing when they engineered this thing. She's going to look very similar to something that you guys have seen in a previous video, the Mini 14, right? Pretty much the same thing. This is the predecessor to that. This is the original deal. And then the Mini 14 was actually based off of these. So the M1 Carbine shoots these 30 caliber, 30 carbine cartridges, which are essentially pistol cartridges, about the same size as a 357. Now these were balked at initially, said not enough power for the guys out in the field, but they certainly did the job as time ended up showing. Typically you'll find these carbines with standard 15-round magazines. Also, you can get later issue, and there's also aftermarkets, 30-round magazines, these stick mags. These things are pretty great. I think these, I'm not 100%, don't quote me on it. I think these came around more towards when the M2s came out to accommodate for the full auto. All right, we can take a look at the rear sight here. So it is a peep sight, as you can see right there, which became very handy as they became more in use. And it is ranged, I don't know if you could really see it, the lighting is kind of poor, but it ranges from 100 to 300 yards. Right now it's sitting 300 yard configuration. At the very front being 100, and then you got 2, 2.5, and ultimately 3. There were several different sight configurations with the M1 Carbines. This one being an inland, it came standard with this one, but you could also get like there were flip-up sights too, or there was just regular dovetailed ones that weren't adjustable. These are great because you can adjust for windage on there along with the elevation, so it makes for a very versatile, handy rifle. And since we're checking out sights, you're going to see the fixed front sight on there with these protective wings. Okay, it's going to actually be pinned in place. You can actually put a bayonet lug on the rifle here. So you got to remove that pin, remove the sight, and pretty much replace the whole assembly. I wanted to keep my rifle as original as possible, so this is the original configuration with just the regular fixed sight with no bayonet lug, and that's a-okay with me. But you can find other models that do have that. Alright guys, let's get started on this thing. Alright, so these 15 round mags, the standard GI issue, are great. But if you want to go with the a little bit more firepower, you can get like something like a 20 stacker or even a 30 stacker. I added a coupler onto these so I could easily do a transition. So these would be like M2 mags. Click. Check. So if you're sitting there in the jungle, messing around with a bunch of Japanese guys sitting in the bush, you can run out of ammo quickly. So oftentimes you'd find them either tied up or taped, or even, I don't know if they had couplers like these back then, but in Vietnam you saw this a lot too, where they would couple up magazines. Keep on putting requests out there. If we got it available to us, we'll find a way to get it out here and shoot. If you got something that we don't got, we'll try and find it. Anyway, keep watching, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.